Welcome back to The Explainer. So, if you're a focused learner trying to decode the dating world, you already know it can be beyond frustrating. You put yourself out there, you try to do everything right, and bam, you hit this invisible wall. Well, today we're tearing that wall down. We are going to decode the actual grounded source material behind romantic selection to figure out what is really going on beneath the surface. What do women really want? It's literally the ultimate age-old question, isn't it? If you've spent any time navigating the modern dating scene, you've probably asked yourself this after a date that felt absolutely perfect, but then just fizzled out, or when you somehow landed squarely in the friend zone and have no idea how you got there. It's a question that drives whole industries and causes endless frustration. But as we'll see today, the source material we're exploring completely flips this question on its head. It turns out the answer is rarely as straightforward as we're led to believe. Okay, let's jump right into Section 1, the superficial checklist myth. Superficial standards. To get to the actual truth here, we need a massive pattern interrupt. Let's tackle the absolute biggest dating misconception head-on. If you ask most guys, they'll tell you that women choose a partner based on this incredibly strict, totally unforgiving, superficial checklist. You know the one: height, money, and looks, the classic trifecta. There's this huge, pervasive belief that if you don't hit a certain height requirement, if your bank account isn't bursting, or if you don't look like a movie star, you're just instantly disqualified. And honestly, why wouldn't we believe this? Our source material points out that society, media, and men, especially dating apps, heavily incentivize this hypervisual, stat-based approach. It's such a rigid, discouraging way to view romance because it reduces human connection to a literal resume. We're fed this narrative relentlessly, so it's incredibly easy to assume it's the only reality out there. Moving on to Section 2, the psychological reality, beyond the checklist. Okay, let's dive into this, because we are literally throwing that checklist completely out the window today. We're aggressively pivoting from that damaging, superficial myth to the actual proven science of attraction. The source material brilliantly illustrates this core shift. It's about moving away from a checklist of static, physical, or material things a man simply has, like height or money, and focusing instead on dynamic filters. These filters, secure, intrigued, and respected, represent the actual psychological reality of how a man makes a woman feel. The research is incredibly definitive here. Romantic selection is not some accounting exercise of your physical attributes. It's actually a dynamic, emotional response to how your presence positively shifts her internal state and her neurological baseline. Which brings us to Section 3, the sequential threshold, the process. Now, these feelings don't just happen randomly in some chaotic jumble. The psychology shows us that romantic attraction is actually a highly organized process. You have to successfully navigate a very specific sequence of emotional states in a specific order to build genuine desire. The researchers map out a rule of 3 for us. Basically, these are 3 hidden gateways you absolutely must pass through. Step 1, make her feel secure. Step 2, make her feel intrigued. And Step 3, make her feel respected. The authors use a totally brilliant analogy here. Think of it like building a house. You can't just build the roof of romance and respect without first pouring the concrete foundation of security, right? If you try to skip a step, like say you try to be wildly intriguing and mysterious before she even feels safe around you, it's going to backfire every single time. It triggers anxiety instead of attraction because the sequential checkpoints in the mind are completely non-negotiable. So let's break down that very first gateway: secure. This is the foundational psychological filter. Before absolutely anything else can happen, a man must make a woman feel safe and comfortable in his presence. If her nervous system is on edge, if she feels pressured, or if she senses any volatility, those gates immediately slam shut. No way forward. The source material provides a great example of this. It notes that security isn't just about physical safety, like walking her to her car. It's really about deep emotional safety. It's demonstrated through consistency in your actions, actively listening without interrupting, and not overstepping those early physical boundaries. When you respect her personal space and communicate predictably, her nervous system literally downregulates. That biological relaxation is the required baseline for any further romantic connection to even be a possibility. Let's move to the next step and see how this builds, because once that baseline of deep emotional safety is established, the second filter comes into play, making her feel intrigued. You've established a safe foundation, but safety alone, the researchers point out, often just leads to a very pleasant, totally platonic friendship. Now, you must successfully spark curiosity and interest. You have to capture her attention, engage her mind, and make her genuinely want to know more about who you are. The studies we're looking at carefully differentiate this from just being a fun friend. A fun friend might make her laugh, sure, but romantic intrigue is sparked by displaying passion for your own life goals, sharing unique perspectives, or introducing her to a completely new way of thinking. It's about showing a level of competence and depth that makes her wonder what else is hiding beneath the surface. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is this final step, making her feel respected. This acts as the ultimate final threshold you have to clear. Think about it. She feels safe with you, she's fascinated by you, but the final lock turns when a mutual feeling of deep admiration is earned. Elevating her as a person in practice, according to the source material, means actively valuing her intellect, supporting her ambitions, and treating her opinions with genuine weight. And to be clear, it's not about putting her on a pedestal. Actually, scratch that. It's more like demonstrating that you view her as an equal partner whose character you deeply, deeply admire. When you show her that you see her true, multifaceted value way beyond just the surface level, that is when this final critical psychological filter is successfully passed. And that leads us right into section 4, the ultimate transformation, friend to boyfriend. So what happens when you abandon that superficial checklist and successfully navigate these 3 psychological filters instead? Well, this brings us to the ultimate payoff. The crucial point is captured perfectly in this direct quote from our source material. Passing these exact 3 hidden filters is the literal mechanism required before he goes from just a friend to the boyfriend. The researchers elaborate pretty deeply on the mechanics of the friend zone here. If you find yourself chronically stuck in that zone, it means you likely pass the secure filter perfectly. She likes you, she trusts you, she feels incredibly safe around you. But, and here's the kicker, you failed to trigger the subsequent intrigue or respect filters. You didn't challenge her, you didn't spark her curiosity, or you didn't establish that mutual high-level admiration. Escaping the friend zone isn't about suddenly becoming taller or richer. It is quite literally about mastering this precise psychological sequence. Because passing all 3 is the absolute only way to unlock that transition to boyfriend status. Which brings us to the end of our explainer today. But before we wrap up, I want to leave you with the provocative question based on the research just to spark a bit of personal reflection. Are you trying to check boxes, or are you passing the filters? Seriously, the next time you're navigating the dating world, try to remember the psychology we explored today. Just completely forget the superficial societal checklist. Let it go. Focus entirely on the dynamic, emotional realities. Ask yourself in real time, am I making her feel secure, intrigued, and respected? Because understanding and applying that sequence, that is where the real transformation happens. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer, and as always, keep learning.